Hey there, fellow gardener. If you've been following along here at the Soil House, you know I'm absolutely obsessed with creating living, thriving soil. And today, I'm going to share something that's completely transformed my garden beds and will do the same for yours. We're talking about a simple technique that'll have earthworms literally fighting to get into your garden. These incredible creatures are going to aerate your soil, break down organic matter, and leave behind the most valuable fertilizer known to humankind, all while you sleep. Sound too good to be true? Stick with me, because what I'm about to share is backed by years of experimentation in my own gardens, and the results speak for themselves. Before we dive into the secret ingredient that'll make your garden irresistible to worms, let's talk about why you want these wiggly workers in the first place. Earthworms are essentially free labor that works 24/7 improving your soil structure. As they tunnel through your raised beds, they create channels that allow air, water, and plant roots to penetrate deeper into the soil. This natural tillage is gentler and more effective than anything you could do with a shovel or fork. But here's where it gets really exciting. Worm castings, which is the polite way of saying worm poop, contain 5 times more nitrogen, 7 times more phosphorus, and 11 times more potassium than the surrounding soil. They also contain beneficial microorganisms that help suppress plant diseases and promote healthy root growth. When you have a thriving worm population, you're essentially running a fertilizer factory right in your garden bed, and it doesn't cost you a single penny once you get it established. Now here's what you've been waiting for. The absolute best material for attracting worms to your raised beds is plain, uncoated cardboard. I know it sounds almost too simple, but let me explain the science behind why this works so incredibly well. Cardboard is made from plant fibers that worms absolutely love to consume. It's high in carbon, which balances out the nitrogen-rich materials like kitchen scraps and grass clippings that many of us add to our gardens. This carbon-to-nitrogen balance creates the perfect environment for worms to thrive. What I do in my own garden is save every cardboard box that comes to my house. I remove any tape, staples, or glossy labels, then I tear or cut the cardboard into manageable pieces. The beauty of cardboard is that it serves multiple purposes simultaneously. It suppresses weeds, retains moisture in the soil, moderates soil temperature, and as it breaks down, it feeds your worm population while improving soil structure. The technique I'm about to share has consistently brought hundreds of worms into my raised beds within just a few weeks. First, you'll want to thoroughly soak your cardboard pieces in water for at least an hour. This softening makes it easier for worms to start breaking it down immediately. While your cardboard is soaking, prepare your raised bed by loosening the top few inches of soil with a garden fork. Once your cardboard is nicely saturated, lay the pieces directly on top of your soil. You can overlap them to create a continuous layer, which works great for weed suppression. Now here's the crucial part that many gardeners miss. You need to cover that cardboard layer with about 3 to 4 inches of compost, aged manure, or quality topsoil. This covering serves several important functions. It keeps the cardboard moist, which is essential for worm activity. It also provides additional food sources and creates the dark, protected environment that worms prefer. If you're planting immediately, you can cut holes through the cardboard layer for your transplants. The cardboard will gradually break down over the growing season, and you'll be amazed at what you find underneath. I've lifted cardboard layers after just 6 weeks and found them absolutely crawling with earthworms of all sizes. It's like opening a treasure chest every single time. While cardboard alone will work wonders, I've discovered a few additional tricks that take worm attraction to the next level. One of my favorite techniques is creating what I call worm lasagna in my raised beds. After laying down your soaked cardboard, alternate layers of nitrogen-rich materials like coffee grounds, vegetable scraps, or grass clippings with carbon-rich materials like shredded leaves, straw, or additional torn cardboard. Each layer should be about 2 inches thick. This layering mimics the natural forest floor, which is essentially worm paradise. The decomposition process creates heat, which worms are attracted to, especially during cooler months. The varied materials also support a diverse population of beneficial microorganisms that work alongside the worms to create incredible soil fertility. I've used this method in beds that started out as compacted, lifeless dirt, and within a single growing season transformed them into rich, crumbly soil that plants absolutely thrive in. Another game changer is adding crushed eggshells to your cardboard layers. Worms need grit to help them digest their food, similar to how chickens need it. Sprinkle a handful of crushed eggshells over your cardboard before covering it with soil. This simple addition can significantly increase worm reproduction rates because they're getting the calcium and grit they need to stay healthy and productive. The timing of when you bury cardboard can make a real difference in how quickly you see results. I've found that early spring and fall are the absolute best times for this technique. During these seasons, soil moisture levels are typically higher, and temperatures are in the range that worms find most comfortable, usually between 50 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. If you're implementing this technique during summer, you'll need to be more diligent about keeping everything moist. Check under your covering layer every few days and water thoroughly if the cardboard is starting to dry out. Dry cardboard won't attract worms and actually breaks down much more slowly. During winter and milder climates, this method still works, though you'll see slower decomposition rates. The beauty is that you're setting up your beds for an explosion of worm activity as soon as temperatures warm up in spring. Through years of trial and error, I've learned that not all paper products are created equal when it comes to attracting worms. Avoid using glossy cardboard, like the kind used for cereal boxes, because the coating can contain chemicals that aren't great for your soil. Stick with plain brown corrugated cardboard from shipping boxes. Similarly, avoid using newspaper with colored ink unless you know it's soy-based. The old colored inks contained heavy metals that you definitely don't want in your vegetable garden. I also need to address a common mistake I see gardeners make. Don't bury fresh grass clippings or large amounts of kitchen scraps directly without the cardboard layer. These materials can create anaerobic conditions as they break down, which actually repels worms and can create unpleasant odors. The cardboard layer helps regulate the decomposition process and maintains the aerobic conditions that worms require. Once you've established a healthy worm population in your raised beds, maintenance is surprisingly simple. The key is to keep feeding them. I add a fresh layer of soaked cardboard to my beds at least twice a year, typically in early spring and again in fall. Between these major applications, I continuously add organic matter in the form of compost, shredded leaves, or aged wood chips. One practice I've adopted from no-till gardening is to never leave soil bare. Always have some kind of organic mulch covering your beds, whether it's cardboard, straw, leaves, or wood chips. This constant covering not only protects and feeds your worm population, but also suppresses weeds, retains moisture, and moderates soil temperature swings. Your worms will reward this care by continuously improving your soil structure and fertility. How do you know if your cardboard technique is working? The simplest way is to do what I call a worm count. Choose a cubic foot of soil from your raised bed and carefully sift through it, counting every worm you find. A healthy garden soil should have at least 10 worms per cubic foot, but I routinely find 20 to 30 worms in my established beds that have been treated with regular cardboard applications. Another indicator of success is watching your plant's vigor. Gardens with thriving worm populations show noticeably healthier plant growth, deeper green foliage, and better resistance to pests and diseases. The soil itself will feel different too. It should be crumbly and have a pleasant, earthy smell. When you water, you'll notice that the water penetrates quickly instead of running off or pooling on the surface, thanks to all those worm tunnels creating natural drainage. I've been using this cardboard burial technique for over 5 years now, and the cumulative benefits continue to amaze me. My oldest raised beds, which started as basic soil mixes, now have soil that's dark, rich, and teeming with life. I've reduced my fertilizer inputs by at least 75% because the worms are doing such an efficient job of cycling nutrients. My water usage has also dropped significantly because the improved soil structure holds moisture so much more effectively. Perhaps most importantly, I've noticed that my plants are simply more resilient. they bounce back from stress faster, whether it's heat, cold, or pest pressure. This resilience comes from having a robust root system supported by healthy, living soil. Every time I dig into one of my beds and see dozens of worms moving through the soil, I'm reminded that I'm not just growing plants, I'm cultivating an entire ecosystem. There you have it, the simple yet incredibly effective technique of burying cardboard to create a worm paradise in your raised beds and garden. This method embodies everything we believe in here at the Soil House: working with nature, building soil health, and creating sustainable, productive gardens that get better every single year. I'd love to hear about your experiences with this technique. If you try it out, make sure to subscribe to the Soil House channel so you can share your results and learn even more ways to transform your garden into a thriving ecosystem. Hit that subscribe button, share this article with your gardening friends who need healthier soil, and let's build a community of gardeners who understand that the secret to great gardens starts from the ground up. Happy gardening, and here's to feeding your soil so your soil can feed your plants.